Are you tired of living a life you don't love? Do you crave more and find the pathway elusive? Well, welcome to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, the Intuitive Coach, and Dr. Pat, as we begin to discover your unique personal magic and easy steps to create that life you love, that life you crave. As a life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive, I am passionate about helping you tap into your intuition and learn to work with your inner resources to use your energy to create a life you desire. You don't have to be positive, stuff your feelings, or spend lots of time and money on self-development, because during this show, we'll show you the how and why. Ready to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead in the intuitive coaching way? Call in, write in, plug in. The Intuitive Coaching Show starts now.
Everybody, I'm Dr. Pat. Here's the way I want to start off today's show, and it's going to be very brief, but it's going to be very important. And this is based on several calls I've had with folks over the past 2 weeks. Is this you? I woke up this morning and my phone bleeps at me and lets me know that my bank account is in the negative. I get ready to go to work one day and I walk in and my boss says to me, "You don't have a job anymore." Or how about the fact that all of a sudden your child, your daughter, your son is not communicating with you anymore? What about that dream that you had and all of a sudden you can't even remember what it was because something in life really dragged you down? What if you created your own organization? What if you built it up? What if it's something that you're so proud of? And two people are trying to tell you that they own both the trademarks for both of your brands. Do you feel like you can't solve it? Do you feel like wow, I'm optimistic? Do you feel like the situations are impossible? Because today, it doesn't even have to be that. It could be as simple as going to the grocery store and looking for that one thing you know you want to have for dinner, and they don't have it. And you're so out of it that you can't even figure out a substitute. Ruth Wilson is here today to walk all of us through, whether it's small, medium, or large, whatever the challenge is in your life, to find impossible solutions. And the reason I'm so fired up about this, Ruth, is I, over my lifetime, have worked with Special Olympics, and I'm watching the Paralympics today. You know, they've been on television for 5 or 6 days, and I'm watching them. And I was so acutely reminded that whether or not the grocery store doesn't have what I want, whether or not you've given me eggs over easy and broke the yolk, whether or not the pizza doesn't have enough cheese on it, whether or not the bank account, flags it, whether or not a trademark is... None of that, none of those experiences has any punch when you look at what people in the Paralympics or other places in life have done to move past challenges. However, you're going to help us today with one thing: finding impossible solutions.
We all have magic, Dr. Pat. We all contain magic. The folks in the Special Olympics, the folks in the regular Olympics, the folks in the hospital where I was visiting my brother last week. There's something we all have to deal with. There may be several somethings we're dealing with, but we all have magic. And that magic is in the subjective mind. It's in the super consciousness. And we can all access it if we learn how. Our society doesn't really teach us too much about accessing it. So that's where I come in. I'm an intuitive coach. I help people find their intuition, and that is your inner magic. And so today I'd like to talk to people about finding that. There are all kinds of well-known people who found really unusual solutions to problems. Albert Einstein was one. George Washington Carver, who talked to plants and got answers about how they grow, and we can all do that. We can all use that intuition, and we can all find magic and create things that we didn't think were possible. And we've been all taught to be really positive and happy. And, positive and happy, it's really nice, but it's not necessary. We all have magic, whether things are happy or sad or somewhere in between. So I'm here to talk about how to get those solutions when you're just a regular person looking for solutions.
Yeah. What I love about this, and then I want you to really run with it, no judgment, no measurement, no mediocrity, and no misunderstandings. Because what you've just described is it doesn't matter if you're Oprah Winfrey or you're Dane Haas, who nobody really knows who Dane is. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. What you're about to share with us today is applicable to everyone across the board. And in the world we're living in now, it's so, so important, isn't it? Because we're at the tip, not even the precipice of the digital age. And we have to learn this, don't we?
We do. And I think we've been, I almost sound like a conspiracy theorist, and I don't mean it that way, but we've been taught that this doesn't exist. We really have. We've been taught we don't have intuition, or that it's magical thinking, or it's not real, or you need to use your intellect and don't let your emotions get in the way of your thoughts. And a lot of that is really, really, really poor direction for solving problems. Solving problems, often we can't figure it out. And that's why it's so frustrating, and that's why it's so upsetting, is there are things that you can't think of the answers to, and you shouldn't be up in your head trying to figure it out anyway. Um, Einstein said that you can't solve a problem at the level that it was created, and that is absolutely, literally true. We're all trying to solve problems that we created in our intellects, and in truth, you need to go to a different level. So physically, it's a different energetic level, and it's really a matter of getting out of the head and into the heart.
Mm-hmm.
The heart is the heart is the first responder, really, before the brain. Your heart responds to what's going on in the world before your brain ever does, and it tells your brain what to do. So you need to start down here in our center to access that inner wisdom, to find solutions to problems, and get your inner genius to operate. And this kind of problem solving doesn't work the way we expect it to or want it to. It's not like waving a wand. It's a little different than that. But I would encourage everyone listening today to just put your hands on your heart. Or if you're driving, put one hand on your heart and just bring your attention down here. Your head still works. Your brain still works just fine, but now you've engaged a different energy center and you've recognized a different energy center. And it's here that you're going to get solutions. So when we trust the subjective and the superconscious, we can take our problems to that level. We can look for things we're trying to manifest at that level. And the things that seem impossible can be handled at that level, but we usually don't believe it and we usually dismiss it. My favorite example of this for myself was a very recent situation where I told my son, what I would really love would be if my internet access, my Wi-Fi was a lot cheaper than it is. It's so expensive and they're not helping me at all and blah, 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 blah. And I just would really like this to be better. But you know what? Forget it. It's never going to happen. And I let it go. But I was coming from my heart space. And, 3 days later, some young man from Georgia called me and said, I'm calling from your internet provider, and I'd like to offer you a deal, $10 less than you've been paying and a better internet speed. And I just laughed. I thought, yeah, I just asked for you to call me a couple days ago. And I didn't believe that it was going to happen. But when you get into your intuitive space and start using that energy, we create things all the time. Why not create solutions?
Yeah.
So this is the just a different orientation, and really it's so much more accessible to people than we think. I say I coach people to learn to use their intuition, and you should work with me, and I'll really show you how to develop some savvy in the intuitive arena. But you know what? You don't even need that. I hate saying it, but anybody can drop down into the heart center and get solutions very, very, very quickly and easily.
Well, let me just say something about that. Yes and no. And let me just say this. We do need you. And I'm going to tell you why we do need to work with you, because we have a lifetime of not being able to do it. And yes, for those people out there that just can't make that connection, to see how you do it, Ruth, and to see how you're helping other people. See, it's almost like it's vicarious learning. And most people have never seen it and or been permitted to explore the magic within, right? So it's a matter of not just bringing it to the forefront. We're not all Disney people, right? But it's giving ourselves permission and allowing us to be that way, especially if you grew up with parents that say, if it doesn't make sense, don't do it, right? Hello. But this is really the work you do. You see, it isn't just working with you to learn how to do it. It's working with you to find impossible solutions, which is today's show. You talked about the cable provider, but I will tell you that if we don't know how to recognize it, there could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 situations that show up as impossible solutions. And because we don't allow ourselves, we can't even see them. Does that make sense to you, right?
It does.
So because we're looking for where'd the solution come from? Where's the facts? Where's the evidence, right?
And some of it is just relaxing and giving the universe time to answer. Because I didn't get that answer immediately. It took a few days, but it only took a few days, and it was a surprise, and a really one of those nice surprises. So there is something about learning to allow that subjective mind to work, and it doesn't work like the intellectual mind. But you know what? It works better. Because if you've been thinking about something like that, I didn't come up with the solution from my intellectual mind for months and months and months and months. And the solution came up from my super consciousness in a couple of, I think it was 3 days. So there is just a matter of learning to work with that level of mind and learning to turn off the intellect and put it where it belongs. I'm not saying not use the intellect. I love my intellect. It's very helpful, but
yes,
it's like a butler. It doesn't run the household. It serves me. And so yeah, there is that aspect of it. It helps to know how to use this part of the mind and to get the kind of solutions you want. I think it's really well illustrated by a woman that came to one of my classes on this, and we went through some guided meditations and some hypnosis and all about getting into the subjective mind and turning your problem over to the intuitive centers. And she came out of that meditation and she said, well, that didn't work because I still can't figure out how to declutter my house. And I said, well, you're not supposed to figure it out. You're just supposed to turn over the problem. So just let it go for now. And she was so disappointed in me because I didn't give her the solution right that minute. But she is somebody in my social life. So I saw her later and asked her what was going on. And she had a new housemate. And the housemate had moved in, and not only was she saving her tons of money, but was helping her declutter her house very quickly. Oh, okay. So you did get a solution. And she didn't figure it out. She never did figure it out. It was way better than anything she could figure out.
Ruth, let's just stay with this because this is going to go into, what are we relying on? Are we relying on the superconscious or are we relying on something else? Look, we have been out there looking for people to want to contribute to invest in our new technology and what we're doing. But I was holding on to how I thought that should look. And I almost missed two important things. I almost missed a call I had 2 days ago with a gentleman. And I almost missed him saying at least 7 times in the call, I know a lot of people and they would love, right? Number one. Number two, we have somebody we're working with that has a fabulous company. It's called Drink Me, but drink is spelled differently. And what they do is they do custom labeling. So if I wanted a green drink, I could go to them and they could do this. Oh, wait a minute. How great would that be in our crowdfunding, right? And then the third thing, there's somebody I play table tennis with who's talking to me about a week ago, and he's sharing a story about an investment he didn't make because he loves to invest, and the light bulb didn't go on. So let's talk about what had to happen for me to have a revelation today about these 3 things. Let's walk us through this because my left brain still wanted me to solve the problem at the level it was created. And honestly, I'm now wondering how many other conversations wasn't I listening to about all of that? Right?
Well, yes, and I've seen this happen a lot, but I have also seen that we get do-overs. I always tell you, you get a do-over.
I'm ready.
If you don't hear it the first time, you're likely to hear it again. If you're totally ignoring the universe will leave you alone. But if you're paying attention, you will get the answer, and you might get it many times. And sometimes you do a head slap, like, "Oh, I heard that before, but wasn't paying attention." The most helpful thing you can do if you want to manifest these things, if you want to get these solutions, is to have some kind of a structure that allows you to do it. And by that, I mean meditating. Meditating is the absolute best. And when I say meditate, I mean maybe 7 minutes will do it for you. It doesn't take too much.
No.
And also, it helps to document what your needs and concerns are so that you kind of get that reticular activating system looking for it so that you see the solutions when they come up. And you're not going to dismiss your intellect because you're going to look at these solutions and put the intellect on them and say, does this make sense? Is this going to work? Can we pay this bill? Can we handle that house? Can we move into that neighborhood? Can we drive that car? There's always some reasoning that we have to use, and any good solution from the universe is going to work with your intellect. Your intellect is going to say, yes, this makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. And by the way, pause. Because when you get a message from the universe, it is a benevolent message. And this is where we get tripped up. You and I have talked about this in previous shows, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because we've got more to share. But if you get a message from the universe that says, you know what, you're never going to get it, you're a loser, nobody's going to do this for you, blah, blah, blah. That is not the universe, right, Ruth?
No, and I'm glad you brought that up because we all have that kind of chatter going on, and it tends to be negative. It is a tendency in the human mind to be negative because we're looking for threats. It's a survival mechanism. You probably don't need it in the 21st century, so it's good to turn away from that kind of stuff. That is not what the universe is going to tell you, and it is not the solution to your problem. Even giving up sometimes seems like a solution, and that's not how it will present to you. If it is, it might be the solution that you let go of something, but not that you give up or that you give up on a dream or anything like that. So it's really important to know that not all your solutions are going to be super happy and cheery and positive, but they're never going to be anything but supportive of you.
So let's talk to the people that are listening today. And first of all, I want them to know that they can work with you. They can do a discovery call with you. And here's what I want to say. You don't have to know what you're even asking, Ruth. You see, sometimes we're so in the middle of our stuff, that's we're stuck. And so we don't take action, because the reason we're talking about this today is so we can take informed action. And that informed action is intuitively informed action. So how do people get a hold of you? How do they take some of the classes you're offering? All of the above. Let's not forget to do that.
Okay, yeah, I can be found at www.ruth-wilson.com. And you can sign up and schedule your own half-hour session. And we can talk about what you need and what I can do, and no obligation. I work with people who want to take a series of classes to learn to be intuitive. I work with people who want me to look at things intuitively with them as if I'm looking over their shoulder, and we do that. So I work with people who are already pretty intuitive, just to help them validate and polish up their skills till they're very sharp. So I can work with you in a number of ways. Occasionally, I'll work with somebody on a one-time issue that they have, but usually it's an ongoing relationship where we look at things together and help you polish up your intuitive skills and learn to use your magic.
You know, I want to ask you about this and go back to what you said about giving up. I I love when I get to hear after the event in the Paralympics, I get to hear what they say. And there was this one woman who won the gold medal in swimming. And she went on to talk about how her illness is progressive. Progressive. And she wasn't quite sure, people have said to her, blah, 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 blah. And she was so clear. I didn't listen to him. Not only have I prepared for this, I'm not my disease, but I'm preparing for LA. And when you watch that, you have to ask, and her solutions, not all logical, not all technical, right? You're talking about somebody that doesn't have the full capacity. And they talked about, how did she know in that race? How did she know? You know how she knew? She trusted her intuition. She trusted her lifetime of skill. That's what we're talking about, right, Ruth? We're not asking people to walk away from who they are, their experience. We're asking folks to open up to that part of you that, one, you may not know how to do by yourself, and two, that all of us have, because it's that 1.5 seconds when she made that turn with no lower limbs that helped and guide her
And
to beat
that's
the
why
competition.
I call it magic.
And impossible solutions.
You may have been told you have this diagnosis, and it may limit you and it may not. And you may be able to do certain things, and you may be limited in what you can do, and you may not. So, we all have a lot of people telling us what we should believe and what we should know about ourselves and who we are and what we can do. And if something is burning in your heart that wants to be done, that heart is your first responder. It's telling you something you need to know. And if you want to accomplish something, I'd say there's an excellent meaning 98% chance that you can do that. In fact, that you're supposed to do that, and that the universe wants to help you do that.
We have been practicing special magic to before we have even recorded it. Fire. The creation of fire. Nobody had a textbook. Hello. Right?
Right.
Okay. All of the herbs that we get out of the Amazon, all of the healing that many, many, many different cultures have used. Did they go to med school? No.
No.
How about the mom that just is in the middle of the kitchen cooking dinner and all of a sudden says, how's little Mary doing in Mary's crib, and walks in and little Mary is getting ready to take a 6-foot leap. This is what you and I are talking about. And now we can use it to fulfill our dreams, Ruth. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, we have a lot of knowledge that we're not consciously aware of, but it's there. And you need to relax and open up and allow it to come to the fore and express itself. And sometimes it'll seem like it's coming from outside you, and sometimes it'll seem like it's coming from inside you. And, as long as you get the solution you want, who cares which one it is? And it's so much fun because it is mysterious.
I almost want to play that song that I'm going to date myself. Do you believe in magic? I almost want to play that song. Ruth, thank you for today. Again, please, how can people find out about you? It's ruth-wilson.com, correct?
That's right.
Yep. And their courses, they can call you, they can schedule a discovery, all of that.
Yeah, I recommend you schedule time to talk to me about what we can do together and how I can best help you, and I'll suit it to you.
Closing message. What do you want to leave us with? What's your personal message there, Ruth?
We are so powerful and we don't recognize it. And it's time to recognize it. The world is changing. And honestly, I think it's going to get easier for us to use these skills and abilities, but you need to use them to really have a beautiful, fulfilled life. And I'd like to see everybody do that.
Ruth Wilson, I'm Dr. Pat. Do you believe in magic? More importantly, do you believe in magic within yourself? Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, everybody, for tuning us in and turning us on. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, and Dr. Pat. Tune in and watch next time for easy steps for creating a life you love. Every first Thursday of the month, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 Eastern, on transformationtalkradio.com to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead the intuitive coaching way. Discover your inner magic and how easy it can be without censoring yourself or spending years on self-development. Move toward what you desire right now, the intuitive coaching way. For more information, connect with me visiting intuitivecoach.info.